Hello, I'm Isaac Keith Martinez, and welcome to Isaac's Haunted Beard. Alright, today I'm going to tell you which movies I watched between Saturday, June 15th and Saturday, June 22nd. On Saturday, June 15th, I watched a double feature of two horror movie sequels, Rings and The Strangers Prey at Night. Rings, of course, is a sequel to The Ring and The Ring 2, where if you watch that creepy video, you will get a phone call saying 7 days, and 7 days later you die because Samara comes out of the screen and kills you. I was thinking while I was watching Rings, what if, two things. What if you watch the video, but you don't have a phone nearby? Like, if she can't make the call, can she still get you? And also, what if 7 days later you're nowhere near a screen? Like, not a TV screen, not a cell phone screen, not a laptop screen. You're just like in the middle of the woods or something. Can she get you then if you can outlast that seventh day? These are things to think about, folks. The Strangers Prey at Night, sequel to The Strangers. The villains in The Strangers, they don't get caught at the end of The Strangers. So they're like, let's do it again. And they do. And it's pretty good. Sunday, June 16th, I watched a comedy, an 80s comedy double feature of Big Top Pee-wee and Ghostbusters 2. I like Big Top Pee-wee. It doesn't get as much love as Pee-wee's Big Adventure, but I think it's almost a perfect film. It's very cartoonish. When I say almost, the one mistake I notice is there's a scene where Chris Christopherson messes up his dialogue really noticeably, so it's almost a perfect film. And if you've been keeping up with my weekly series that I've been doing where I'm telling you which movies I've been watching the week before, I've been noticing a pattern where cult actress Susan Tyrrell has been popping up in a bunch of movies I've been watching. Guess what? Susan Tyrrell plays Midge in Big Top Pee-wee. On Sunday, June 16th, it was the 30th anniversary of Ghostbusters 2, another movie that, like Big Top Pee-wee, doesn't get as much love as the other film that is in that franchise, and that's Ghostbusters. But I think over time people have come around to accepting and enjoying Ghostbusters 2 more. I think Ghostbusters 2 is pretty good. There's a character in it that I think is really good. He's kind of a scene stealer. His name is Janos. He has my favorite line of the whole movie. He walks by this person and he says, "Everything you're doing is bad. I want you to know this." There's a scene in Ghostbusters 2 where they're out in the city and you can see a movie theater playing a film called Cannibal Girls. And it's kind of an inside joke because this is a 1970s horror film that Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters 1 and 2, directed. So, on Monday, June 17th, I watched Cannibal Girls, starring Andrea Martin and Eugene Levy of SCTV fame. And it's a horror film. It's not a comedy. It stars two famous comics, but it's not. It's a legit horror film, and it's actually pretty good. The second film, actually, was a double feature. The second film I watched that night was called Three on a Meat Hook. And that title, to me at least, suggests that there's only three victims, but there is in fact more than three victims. There is in fact a scene where there's three of those victims on a meat hook. So it delivers. Tuesday, June 18th, I watched Hero at Large and the 1990 version of Captain America. Hero at Large is an early 80s film starring John Ritter, and I love John Ritter because of Three's Company. So I think a lot of how much you could enjoy this film may depend on how much you enjoy John Ritter. John Ritter plays a character named Steven, who is an actor hired to play a superhero named Captain Avenger. Captain America is named Steve Rogers when he's not Captain America, and Captain America is an Avenger. So, I've already seen Captain America, the first Avenger, a number of times. I figured I'd finally give a shot to the 1990 version of Captain America, which I didn't dislike it, but I actually went into it hoping it would be really campy, like the failed version of Fantastic Four, which I did watch, but it wasn't. So I guess I have to track down the 1979 TV movie version of Captain America. I think that might deliver. Red Skull, the villain in Captain America, he shows up in the very beginning. I'm like, yes, there he is with the Red Skull and everything. I won't have to wait the whole movie to see him as Red Skull. But then they're like, nope. He gets plastic surgery and spends the rest of the movie just looking like some regular old ugly dude. On Wednesday, June 19th, I watched Munchies, which is a Gremlin ripoff by Roger Corman. And I liked it a lot, actually, but not because of the Munchies. All the actors in the film, which include Harvey Korman, which is a very famous comic. A lot of people know him from the Carol Burnett show. I particularly, especially love him in Blazing Saddles. And he plays two characters in this movie. He plays twin brothers. The actors in the film play very cartoonish performances, and I'm a sucker for that. If it's well done, as it is in this film, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't do a double feature that night, but earlier in the evening I'd watched on Netflix the Lonely Island's 30-minute short film called The Unauthorized Bash Brothers Experience, which is about baseball players Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire's journey to the 1989 World Series. It's like a series of music videos, so it's kind of like an opera. There's no real dialogue. All the story is told through music, and it is super funny, and you don't have to be into baseball. I don't know anything about baseball, and I loved it. It's almost more of a love letter to the 80s than to baseball. It's really hilarious. Thursday, June 20th, I watched the double feature of Lightning Jack and Rustler's Rhapsody. So this is a comedy western double feature. The first one, where the main character is a bad guy, and the second one, where the main character is a good guy. Paul Hogan, who you may know as Crocodile Dundee, plays Outlaw Lightning Jack, and his sidekick is Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character, who is a mute. And it's from the early 90s. I'd never seen it before, and I liked it. It's pretty good. It's not great, but I'm happy to have finally seen it. I like Crocodile Dundee, so I kind of wanted to see a little more Paul Hogan in my life. Rustler's Rhapsody is an early 80s Western comedy that is very self-aware, and it's almost a spoof on 1930s Westerns, and it stars Tom Berenger. I think it's really smart, and it's really good. And it's not something that people ever really bring up, and I don't understand it because it's so funny and it's so smart. And then I realized, I think people who like 1930s Westerns, which I'm guessing might be people who are a lot older than I am, don't really want to see a movie make fun of it. And then people who like zany comedies don't particularly like 1930s Westerns. And I don't really care about 1930s Westerns, but I appreciate the work put into Rustler's Rhapsody. Like, it's really well done. Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes, 17% on Rotten Tomatoes. How can this movie have 17% on Rotten Tomatoes? It's clearly a very intelligent film as far as comedies are concerned, and it just feels as though critics are just, they make up their mind they're not going to like something, so they stick to their guns. What are you going to do? On Friday, June 21st, this is the best double feature I did all week. I did a double feature of Thank God It's Friday and The Cotton Club. Thank God It's Friday is a night in the life of a collection of people in the 1970s, and it's a movie that was made in the 1970s who are attending a disco. It's kind of like a disco version of American Graffiti, and in the beginning of the movie, it's a film put out by Columbia Pictures. You know the woman on the logo who holds the torch, the Columbia Pictures lady? She's animated, and she's standing there, but then the music starts for the opening credits of the film, and then she starts to, like, disco dance. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be a good film. And it was. The Cotton Club is a Francis Ford Coppola 1930s gangster film that was made in the 80s that has a lot of tap dancing in it. This is a great film. I loved it. I feel like Francis Ford Coppola deserves more credit for being a master filmmaker. I know people love The Godfather, but they seem to just single that by title only. I rarely hear people talking about Coppola in the same breath as they would talk about master filmmakers like Martin Scorsese, and I think that he should be in that same conversation, because every time I see something that he's done, I'm super impressed. Like, I look at The Cotton Club, I'm like, why isn't this something that people just can't stop talking about how great it is? And people never talk about it, and I think that they should. It's an amazing film. It's got a terrific cast. If you have the opportunity to check it out, please do. I highly recommend it. And then on Saturday, June 22nd, I ended my week with a film called Stalker. Stalker is a film by a Russian filmmaker who did a movie that I really, really adore called Solaris. And because I like that movie so much, I wanted to see something else that he's done, so I checked out Stalker, and I didn't like it. And it's one of those movies that is really beloved among film critics. And the reason I didn't like it is because the premise is really good, but they never deliver on their promise. So I'm not going to tell you what the plot is. I'm going to give you an analogy. What if I invited you over to dinner and I said I was going to make you the greatest spaghetti you've ever tasted in your whole life, and I take forever to make it, and I'm making it, and I'm making it, and I'm in the kitchen, and every once in a while you ask me, how's that spaghetti coming along? I'm like, it's almost ready, and you notice that this is taking longer than usual, and you say, I'm really hungry over here. I could really go for some spaghetti right around now. I'm like, trust me, it's going to be worth the wait. When you finally taste this spaghetti, it will blow your mind. And you're like, okay, because it's you, because I trust you, I will wait for this amazing spaghetti that you're promising me. And we're getting closer to dinner, and we're getting closer, and we're getting closer. And then you're like, I'm ready for spaghetti. And I'm like, I changed my mind. I'm not going to give you any spaghetti. Bye. And I just leave. Wouldn't you be really disappointed and angry? That's Stalker. And that's all I'm going to tell you about Stalker. Thank you for spending time with me and listening to me tell you about the movies that I watched this past week. I'll do it again 8 days from now. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Isaac'sHauntedBee. Until next time, bye-bye.